Welcome to the Pro-Democracy News Channel. My name is Peter Watts. I've been an educator for over 15 years, with a background in ancient and modern history. I'm a daily consumer of U.S. news and politics. And like many of you, I'm a concerned citizen. When Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election, my heart sank because I knew what was coming down the pike. He already told us on the campaign trail what he intended to do, and he has kept many of those promises. Over the last 9 months, we've watched as President Trump and his administration have made calculated steps to weaken and cripple our democracy and to usher us in to an age of authoritarianism. On day one of his second term, President Trump demonstrated he had no intention of following the rule of law or the Constitution. One of his first decisions on January 20th was pardoning and commuting the sentences of over 1,500 January 6 rioters, some of whom had violently assaulted Capitol and Metropolitan police officers and literally hunted down politicians in the halls of Congress. We've watched as President Trump directed his border czar, Tom Homan, and ICE agents nationwide to round up as many non-citizen immigrants as possible. We've watched with horror as video footage has surfaced over and over again of ICE agents routinely, violently attacking Latino immigrants and protesters during arrests, and have even targeted and arrested Latino American citizens. Immigrants all over America are quite literally being disappeared. We've watched as the Trump administration infringes upon Americans' First Amendment rights of free speech and press. We've watched as DOJ has eliminated or hollowed out several crucial federal agencies, including the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, the Department of Education, USAID, or the United States Agency for International Development, the United States Agency for Global Media, and others, and has made significant cuts in funding to HHS, FEMA, USDA, the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Office of Personnel Management, the Department of Interior, and the IRS. Over 300,000 federal employees either lost their jobs due to mass layoffs or through a pressure campaign to resign through a federal buyout initiative. Under the leadership of RFK, the Department of Health and Human Resources has laid off an additional 10,000 federal employees who worked at FDA, CDC, and NIH. Trump's crippling tariff policies have jeopardized the global economy and international relationships, including relationships with longtime allies. This is already having devastating effects on the U.S. economy because tariffs are a tax on American companies who import products from overseas. And those companies then pass those added costs on to American consumers. Over the last few months, President Trump has treated world dictators like old friends, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and El Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele. His administration has infringed on our First Amendment rights to free speech as he silences news media companies with late-night social media posts, as he continues to file frivolous and baseless lawsuits, as he greenlights the arrests of peaceful protesters. As if all of this was not bad enough, President Trump and Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, called together every military general and commander in one space just a couple days ago and told them to prepare their soldiers to fight the enemy within. Never in American history has there ever been a president or his defense secretary who targeted American citizens. Policing has historically been the job of state and local police. And wherever federal laws were broken, it has involved the FBI, but not the American military. If it's not clear by now, President Trump and his administration are forcefully moving the United States into an age of authoritarianism and ultranationalism, and what many historians have called a police state. Historically speaking, nations that become police states use their military against their own citizens. They scapegoat and politically target and marginalized and vulnerable populations as they attempt to recapture some sort of mythicized golden age that never existed in that nation's distant past. So a couple months ago, I had an idea. What if I take my passion for history, my love of our country, my knowledge of today's current political climate, and I use it to speak out? What if I call this work pro-democracy news? So that's what I did. I transitioned out of education and started an independent political news resource. You can find me at Pro-Democracy News channel on YouTube and other social media platforms and on Substack. Here are 4 things you can expect from Pro-Democracy News. Number 1, Pro-Democracy News will inform you on political issues and policies of both major political parties. In a time of big political divisions where voters and politicians tend to become more closed off and talk past each other, it's important to resist political tribalism and consider how political views and policies affect everyone, not just you or your political party. Democracies thrive not when political parties silence each other, but when they affirm their constitutional right to speak freely, when they listen to one another, when they cooperate on issues where they find agreement on, and when they compromise on issues they find little agreement on. Number 2, Pro-Democracy News is going to amplify voices of individuals, grassroots movements, organizations, and elected officials who are working to protect and strengthen American democracy. Number 3, Pro-Democracy News is going to resource you with tools and knowledge to mobilize peacefully and nonviolently, strategically and proactively for the common good, and to strengthen American democracy. Number 4, to address and call out the growing abuses of power by the president, his administration, and those enabling them that are quickly ushering the United States into an age of authoritarian rule. If you'd like to support my work, become a paid subscriber to my newsletter on Substack. I'll include it in the description below. We have some exciting news to share as well in the coming weeks, so stay tuned.